Ever since the Nintendo Switch's online service has been announced, people have been wanting more information on the service. It's basically a pretty cheap service, only 20 bucks a year, and it seems like there's some decent features that are going to be involved with it. But for whatever reason, Nintendo's been very quiet about specifics with the online service. And the more and more specifics we get about the online service just sort of shows that maybe it's not going to be as good as we thought. Sure, at 20 bucks, I didn't expect the most robust thing in the world, but more and more little instances are starting to pop up that are just showing that Nintendo is kind of screwing this up pretty royally, in my opinion. So in today's video, I want to go over Nintendo Switch's online service and basically talk about how Nintendo is making this a bigger mess than it really needs to be. How there's instances of things that are happening within Nintendo's online service that just aren't all that great, in my opinion. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into Nintendo Switch's online service and how Nintendo is just screwing this up.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards!
So before we get into the negative aspects of Nintendo's online service and the stuff that's recently been uncovered and Nintendo themselves have talked about, I want to talk about the positive things of the service. Obviously, the price point is a very positive thing. 20 bucks a year, I think that's very affordable, especially when you compare it to the competition. I think there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, but the features need to be sort of in line that allow this to be a prominent service, that allow this to give somewhat of a value to the consumer. Now, of course, one of the main attractive points of Nintendo Switch's online service will be the catalog of games that you will have access to from the NES and supposedly Super Nintendo. There's going to be 20 games available at launch, 10 of them have been discussed, and these games also feature online play, so you'll be able to play some classic NES games with online features. We of course have talked about how Mario Brothers Arcade is going to have competitive gameplay as well, and that's really cool in my opinion. That's a really fun and addictive game, and a game that I think is pretty much under the radar because everyone sort of thinks of Mario games as the platformers, but I really enjoy the original Mario game. Of course, there's games like Donkey Kong and other games that will be added to the service. Although we only know about 10 of them right now, I'm very curious to see what these other 10 games are, and I think that's going to be a really fun thing. Even if you don't use any voice chat in it, I think the competitive aspect of this will be really fun, and I think that's pretty good. And of course, another somewhat positive point is the fact that there will be voice chat now. Yes, we'll talk about the negative aspect of voice chat that is being used with Nintendo's online service, but the positive part is at least there will be some voice chat included in the games so that you can talk with your friends that are playing the games. But honestly, the voice chat is just sort of like an extra thing to me because the way that this is going to be set up is going to be somewhat of a negative thing in my opinion. I will probably be using Skype and Discord and Facebook Messenger to talk to people when I play some of these Nintendo games online because it's just easier than doing what Nintendo wants me to do. And what does Nintendo want me to do? Of course they want me to use my cell phone because the Nintendo Switch Online app, yes, is still around and it is still prominent, and that's a real pain in the ass in my opinion. I don't want to use my cell phone in order to talk in a game, especially when so many video games on the Nintendo Switch can do native voice chat. The ability to do native voice chat is there. Fortnite has proven that native voice chat is within the Nintendo Switch's online system, and you can use it if you want to, if the developer chooses to do it. The fact that developers are choosing to use Nintendo Switch's online voice app via the cell phone is just very crazy to me. Of course, you're seeing that with first-party Nintendo games. I'm sure that we saw this with Splatoon. I'm sure that Smash Brothers will feature this as well. And then, of course, even third-party companies are getting involved with Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch. That will be using Nintendo Switch's online voice chat app with your cell phone, and it's just so puzzling to me. If it's in the system, use it in the system. It's so much easier. So those are sort of the positive aspects about it, and of course you're going to have different things like discounts and deals exclusive to people who have the online service, so I'm curious to see how that will pan out. Obviously there's a lot of great deals with Gold. The PS4 online service has a lot of great deals as well, so hopefully Nintendo will sort of follow suit with that. But good lord, the one thing that was supposed to be the saving grace of this, the one thing that was supposed to be the best part about this service that you really couldn't argue was going to be the cloud save feature. Now, the cloud save feature would allow you to save all of your games to a cloud instead of saving it onto a system. So granted, if something were to happen to your Nintendo Switch, it breaks, you lose it, whatever, you will be able to have access to your save files. So that's really important, because if you lose the system or something happens to the system, you unfortunately lose all of your save files. People, of course, have had problems with that. If you have to send over your Nintendo to Nintendo, or your Nintendo Switch over to Nintendo in order to have it serviced or something, there was always a potential possibility that you would lose all your save files, and that's really unacceptable, especially with big games and, you know, games that you might have put a ton of time into, like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like, that would be absolutely traumatic to lose all of that. But now it looks like not every game is going to feature cloud saves, and Nintendo has actually responded to this. So I sort of want to go over what games have been confirmed to not be using cloud saves, sort of read over what Nintendo said, and then sort of try to come to some sort of conclusion, because honestly, Nintendo is just screwing this up. There should be no excuse for games not featuring online cloud saves, especially first-party Nintendo titles. So some people on the internet found out that these following titles will not have the ability to use online cloud saves with Nintendo Switch's online. Now, of course, these are just games that are coming up and games that are already released. It does not say, you know, what future titles will be impacted by this, but this is just something to go on right now. So the following games will not have cloud save support: Dark Souls Remastered, FIFA 2019, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and Splatoon 2. Now, 3 of those games are pretty much first-party Nintendo titles. I think we all pretty much just assimilate Pokemon games as first-party Nintendo titles. You have 2 third-party titles in there with Dark Souls Remastered and FIFA 19, both games that I think look really good and games that I was actually interested in picking up on the Nintendo Switch. I'm pretty sure I already have Dark Souls Remastered ordered for the Nintendo Switch, but I thought FIFA 19 looked pretty decent as well. But when you look at Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and Splatoon 2, it's like, why in the hell do these games not have cloud saves? Obviously, you're going to sink a lot of time into Pokemon. People have sunk hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of hours into Splatoon 2. So what is Nintendo's reasoning behind this? Well, CNET.com reached out to Nintendo and got the following response regarding online cloud saves not being in games like Splatoon 2. The vast majority of Nintendo Switch games will support save data cloud backup. However, in certain games, this feature would make it possible to, for example, regain items that have been traded to other players or revert to a higher online multiplayer ranking that had been lost. To ensure fair play, save data cloud backup may not be enabled for such games. To ensure that save data cloud backups cannot be used to unfairly affect online multiplayer rankings, this feature will not be enabled in Splatoon 2. So because people cheat in Splatoon 2, because there's no way to get around that, because you can't stop them, you're going to penalize people with your cloud save system, and they won't be able to use cloud saves for Splatoon 2. Look, people, Splatoon 2 is a huge game for Nintendo. This is just unacceptable. If there's cheating going on, if there's some sort of manipulation of the system and some sort of manipulation of leaderboards and things like that, Nintendo needs to step in and do something about it. I don't think you should penalize people who are honest players in the game, like a vast majority of the people are, and, you know, pretty much put them in a pigeonhole and not allow them to use cloud saves, especially when Splatoon 2 is one of your highest selling games of all time. What if there's an exploit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Because let's face it, people can find exploits pretty easily in Smash Bros. Are you going to disable cloud saves for that too? Or are you just going to plan on, oh, if a game has online stuff, you know, maybe we shouldn't do cloud saves? If you look, all 5 of these games have pretty prominent online features. Dark Souls Remastered has an online aspect. FIFA 19, an online aspect. The Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, obviously online is a key component of that. And Splatoon 2, the whole game is pretty much based on online play. So Nintendo, you're not doing a great job with this online service. I thought it had potential. I tried to keep an open mind towards it, but the more and more little things that come out about it, the fact that you have to use things like the voice chat app on your cell phone, the fact that you have to do things like worry about if games are going to feature cloud save data or not because of potential manipulation and potential cheating of a system is not a good look. All games need to have cloud save support. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If leaderboards get messed up, then that's on your own fault. That's your own problem. I don't think people people are necessary. If you had to sit there and say, you know, what's a bigger concern to me? Someone ranking up the leaderboards in a, you know, dishonest manner, or having the ability to use cloud saves online? I think 99.9% of people would say that cloud saves online are way more important than some sort of idiot just doing something to manipulate a leaderboard system to make themselves, you know, get some E-points or something like that. Like, nobody cares about online leaderboards in comparison to something like a cloud save. A cloud save is important. A cloud save is something that people need. I don't think people really need leaderboards, but yeah, this, oh man, like, obviously I'm going to sign up for Nintendo's online service. I have Xbox Live, I have PSN. I think a vast majority of people are going to sign up for Nintendo's online service so that they can play these online games online, obviously. But I think it could have been so much better. I think it could have really been more fleshed out, and I think that little instances like this really start to add up. Are people now going to be worried maybe they won't pick up a Nintendo Switch version of the game if cloud saves are not enabled in that version of the game? I don't know. It's going to be very telling, though, to see how the future of this really pans out with Nintendo's online service. But Nintendo, you're screwing it up, man. Just fix your leaderboards, and I think everyone would be happy. But yeah, so that's what's going on with Nintendo's online service. Obviously, whenever this Nintendo Direct happens, supposedly sometime this week, we're going to get more information about the service. But as it stands right now, it definitely needs some work, and this cloud save feature data backup thing is just unacceptable. So let me know what you think about this situation in the comments section down below. And as always, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.